Coach of the year.
Yeah.
Hopefully we have some disagreement on this one. I'll let you go first because I think I went 3 deep with the guys I really considered for that number 1 spot. Give me your top 3.
Okay. I'm very interested to see if we have the number 1 together. Darko Rajaković.
Yeah.
Raptors
Right
coach.
there.
No?
He was right there. So my number 1
Yes.
was JB Bickerstaff.
Okay.
I'll admit, am I partly influenced by the fact that he didn't win it last year?
Did you vote for him last year?
I don't remember. I don't think I
You and I had the argument last year.
can't believe I can't remember my votes from last year.
You told me this was going into, I don't know what you actually marked on your ballot.
Yeah.
I did not double check your homework. But when you and I had the argument last year, you were arguing for Bickerstaff and
Yes.
I was not.
Because, I mean, they had, what was it, a 30-win
It
improvement?
was very close,
It was
but
the
you
most
had
unexpected
to go. You
leap.
still had to go with the guy who led Cleveland to an even bigger lead.
wins, yeah.
Yes,
It was
in my opinion.
Another one where you flip a coin,
Yeah.
can't really lose there. I
Okay.
feel like I definitely entered this cycle predisposed to wanting to give JB Bickerstaff the benefit of the doubt, to like see what he can do with this group. But I think it's been a great coaching job. Look, you're seeing Cade Cunningham take another step forward. You're seeing Jalen Duren, who we're going to talk about,
Yes.
take another step forward. Osler Thompson, another step forward. This is a team that shook up the veterans on its bench, part of its rotation, and hasn't missed a beat. Like the guys they brought in have replaced the guys that have left, and they're sitting right now as we tape this top the top of the Eastern Conference.
JB Bickerstaff is in my top 3.
Yeah.
There's no question about it. However, just because the guy isn't your top vote getter doesn't mean you think he's trash. So I just want to keep repeating that. Oh, gee, he didn't do anything.
Yeah.
However, to me, I can't put him at number 1 if you have Cade Cunningham, if you have Jalen Duren. My Coach of the Year vote, and again, this is back under the category of everyone votes a little differently, my Coach of the Year vote usually goes to someone who has done the most, not with the least, but with less than the obvious, I think it's actually hard to coach a Steph Curry-led Warriors team. I think there's a lot of different things Steve Kerr does that he never gets credit for, but I'm not voting him Coach of the Year, right? So I just think that there are times when JB Bickerstaff, and yes, he's a little bit of a victim of his own creation. He helped Cade Cunningham become Cade Cunningham. He's helped Jalen Duren become Jalen Duren. But also that means that I'm a little bit more inclined to give someone like Darko the nod right now, only 20 games in. This may change. The Raptors may fall apart. Just because we talked about the Raptors last week, and I think he is putting each guy in such a good position to maximize the talents they have. And I appreciate the turnaround that they've had as well.
Yeah, he was number 2 on my list. I think the Raptors were better than what they showed last season. They obviously didn't have Ingram after he was acquired. They had a whole bunch of injuries. Scotty Barnes has kind of reclaimed his spot amongst the best young wings in the NBA. You're seeing his shooting percentages back to the level they were 2 years ago when he was an all-star. Darko has a lot to do with that. And look, he's found an offensive system that works with these guys. It's certainly helpful when you've got a guy like Brandon Ingram who can get you a bucket in the half court. They were lacking that last year. I thought Darko's done a nice job of integrating Ingram into that mix. Continued development from RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, Jamal Sheed. I want to talk about him in a little bit. They've got a bunch of guys on their bench that could play. He's right there at number 2. I'm curious, I think the Pistons are for real.
Oh, yeah.
I think Detroit is going to be
in this East? Absolutely.
I think they're going to be number 1, number 2 in the East at the end of the season. I believe that. I don't know yet if Toronto's for real. They look great so far.
But that's what
wanna
we're
see
voting
them-
on right now.
What's that?
You and I are voting on
Right. I think
a quarter of the season in. I'm not voting on. This is not a futures market.
Right.
We are not like every other hedge fund in the world starting a futures market.
All right. So you've got Darko at number 1. I've got JB at number 1. Did you have JB at 2 or?
Sure. I have Spoelstra in there as well.
Spoelstra was my number 3.
So, I just sort of was like, here's my number 1. Here's the other 2 guys I think are in the conversation. And completely change. First of all, this goes back a little bit to who's the best player in the NBA. Eric Spoelstra is just one of the best coaches in the league and has been
the best coach. Full stop. He's the best coach.
He's the best coach, right? So I think that enters into this conversation. But also, he was willing to this summer completely rip up their playing style and play. He's the first person who, when LeBron was there, to sort of bring in this positionless basketball idea, and teams have, gone with it, receded from going with it, et cetera. But that came out of his coaching sort of brain there. Now that he's going with the we don't do pick and rolls and sort of the whole sort of free form, I mean, it's amazing.
They don't run plays.
Well, that's what one of the broadcasts was keeping tabs on, like, had the camera on him and said that an entire half he didn't call a single play.
No, they don't.
Like that,
They understand this is the Noah LaRoche offense. This is the Noah LaRoche, former Grizzlies assistant, was broomed out when Taylor Jenkins was fired. This is his offensive system. And to Eric
John
Spoelstra's,
Morant would not want any of this.
did not want anything to do with it. To Eric Spoelstra's credit, he looked at his roster and said, look, there's no Jimmy Butler. We are no longer a grind-out offensive team. We're not a team that's going to rely on Jimmy's singular talents to get us buckets in the half court.
Yep.
And he went out there and blew the whole thing up and created this, well, didn't create, but like brought in LaRoche, who brought this offensive system where they're just running and gunning, playing one of the fastest paces in the NBA, getting shots off inside 7 seconds a lot, just going every single time. Bucket, no bucket, they're just going. That's a remarkable, that's a coaching job right there. Like everybody else, like we talked about Darko and JB, like development is part of it. And that's part of Coach of the Year, I think, but it's development. This is straight coaching.
I agree.
This is Eric Spoelstra being like, you know what?
That's
not going to work with this group. I'm going to go with this.
This is why I'm not ready to say he's number 3.
Yeah.
I think he's right up there. I mean, I think this is a close conversation. We're only, as you say, 20 games in or whatever we are for each team. But like, I think he is in that mix unbelievably. And by the way, it's a fun team to watch. And I am never.
Which you didn't always say about Miami.
Well, that's what I mean. I am never too far. And look, this goes back to my Milwaukee argument over the summer. I am never too far away from being a fan to say that only one team wins the title every year. There's a whole batch of teams not even in contention for the title every year. The idea, this is an entertainment league. It's supposed to be fun for the fans who spend their time and money and invest all of their lives sometimes in these teams, and they are making Miami Heat fans have fun. And that is a value category for me, because in the end, that's what this is all about, right?
Yeah, and look, they're getting Tyler Hero back this week.
Tonight, I think, as we sit here.
So that's a 20-plus point per game scorer.
Yep.
Who looks like he's well built to play in this type of system.
I think he's perfect for this. I think this is going to be great.
Yeah.
And by the way, if he takes a little while to work himself in, so what? You know what he can do? Shoot the basketball, which is great in this offense as well.
Very competitive Coach of the Year race right now.